Consider the inequality 2 is less than 5, which is a true statement. Let's see what happens when we multiply both sides by 3. 3 times 2 is 6, and 5 times 3 is 15. The inequality remains unchanged, as 6 is still less than 15. What if we multiply both sides by negative 3? Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Negative 6 is greater than negative 15, which means we reverse the inequality symbol. This tells us that whenever we multiply both sides of an inequality by a negative number, we must switch the direction of the inequality symbol to produce an equivalent inequality. This rule also applies to division. When multiplying and dividing each side of an inequality by a negative number, reverse the inequality sign to produce an equivalent inequality. M divided by negative 2 is greater than negative 6. To solve this inequality, undo the division of negative 2 by multiplying both sides by negative 2, isolating the variable. Since we multiply both sides by a negative number, we switch the symbol. On the right, negative 6 times negative 2 equals positive 12. Therefore, m is less than 12. To graph it, place 12 in the middle of the number line, labeling numbers to the left by decreasing and to the right by increasing. Since m is less than 12 but not equal to it, we use an open circle at 12 and draw an arrow to the left, indicating that any number less than 12 is a solution. The next inequality is k divided by 8 is greater than or equal to negative 5. To solve this inequality, we'll undo the division of 8 by multiplying both sides by 8 to isolate the variable. Since we're multiplying both sides by a positive number, 8, the direction of the inequality symbol remains the same. On the right side, negative 5 times 8 equals negative 40. Therefore, k is greater than or equal to negative 40. To graph it, we place negative 40 in the middle of the number line, labeling numbers around it. Since k can be equal to negative 40, we use a closed circle at negative 40 and draw an arrow to the right, indicating that any number greater than or equal to negative 40 is a solution. Next, negative 6m is greater than or equal to 102. To solve this inequality, we'll undo the multiplication of negative 6 by dividing both sides by negative 6 to isolate the variable. Since we're dividing both sides by a negative number, we need to flip the inequality sign. On the right side, 102 divided by negative 6 equals negative 17. Therefore, m is less than or equal to negative 17. To graph it, we put negative 17 in the middle of the number line and label numbers to the left and to the right. Because m can be equal to negative 17, we will use a closed circle at negative 17. Then we'll draw an arrow to the left to show that any number less than or equal to negative 17 is a solution. Next, the inequality we have is 10x is less than negative 60. To solve this, isolate the variable x by undoing the multiplication of 10 by dividing both sides by 10. X is left by itself. Since 10 is positive, we don't need to flip the inequality sign. When we divide negative 60 by 10, we get negative 6. This means x is less than negative 6. To graph this, we'll put negative 6 in the middle of the number line and label numbers around it. Because x is less than negative 6, but not equal to it, we'll use an open circle at negative 6. Then we'll draw an arrow to the left to show that any number less than negative 6 is a solution. Now it's your turn. Grab a pencil and a sheet of paper if you can, and give it a shot. I'll be revealing the answers in just 10 seconds, so pause the video and test your skills.